And welcome back, y'all. This is Real with O'Neill. I am your host, O'Neill, and I have a very special guest today, Miss Janie Cisneros. She is a West Dallas resident, activist, and the director of Singleton United, Unidos. Janie, thank you so much for sitting down with me. And I just am very inspired by what you've been doing and are doing today when it comes to fighting for environmental justice in your neighborhood and neighborhoods across Dallas. So, real quick, so people know what's kind of going on, get a good introduction of what's happening. Who is GAF? What do they do? How long have they been here? And what effect have they had on the people of West Dallas?
GAF is an asphalt shingle manufacturer. It's been there for over 80 years in the community, and it is emitting way too many
Mm.
pollutants into our air. It's poisoning our air. There's particulate matter, there's sulfur dioxide. I can rattle you off a list of all of the carcinogens that are coming out of the
Yeah.
factory. There's a lot of volatile organic compounds, and it is causing adverse impact to everybody who breathes, inhales all of this stuff
Mhm.
in the community. We have toddlers, we have the elderly, we have, I mean, it's a residential community. So there
Mhm.
are people out there. They're shopping. They're waiting for the bus to go to work. They're going to the library. They're walking to homes, to neighbors' homes. There's daycares. There's a
Yeah.
dentist.
Yeah.
It's an
It's
entire residential community, and you
it's a
have this
neighborhood.
polluter sitting in the middle of it, disturbing quality of life, poisoning the air, and affecting people who already have vulnerable circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. I always hear it whenever I'm doing environmental work, talking about industrial sites or people living right next to industrial sites. They always say, "Why don't you just move? Why can't you just move? You don't have to be there." Da 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 da. Why is that not feasible? Why is that kind of a ridiculous notion when it comes to our neighborhood? This is our land and our property.
Right. And moving doesn't solve the problem.
Yes.
The
Yes.
the polluter will continue to be there. So
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing is not an option,
Yes.
And so I think a lot of times um, when people say that, it it shows how out of touch they are with our reality
And the privilege.
and the privilege, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody can afford to leave. I mean, West Dallas was the mecca for affordable housing at one point in time.
Back in the
Everybody,
day.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where are people who could afford to live in West Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Where can they go now? It's
Mm-hmm.
not that easy for people to move, and nonetheless, that doesn't solve the problem,
Right.
right? Could I move? Maybe. But what about my mom who lives on the same block that I do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What about my neighbors?
Mm-hmm.
What about the kids that go to Thomas Edison?
Mm-hmm.
What about the kids that go to the elementary schools?
And I feel like it's hypocritical, man, because they always say that being a homeowner is it's the gateway to familial wealth, and then all of a sudden you're wanting folks to sell their homes to leave and to leave their families, leave their legacy. That's unfair to these communities, and it's really only happening. I'll be honest with you, and I know are this black and brown neighborhoods. This is
Yes.
environmental injustice, environmental racism.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. It is definitely environmental racism. It is our community is just overburdened with all kinds of racism
Yes.
and discrimination and marginalization throughout the decades, right? This community has just been neglected,
Mhm.
not prioritized. I mean, a little off topic, but we had an EPA asbestos study that happened just a few years ago
Mm.
that should have happened 20 plus years ago,
Yeah.
but it finally got prioritized not too long ago.
Even under this Trump regime, this EPA that's been gutted, like how much help has the EPA really been in this fight against GAF?
Under the former administration, they were helpful.
Okay,
Under the
that makes
under the
sense.
former administration, that was helpful. I mean, that is when the asbestos study got done.
Mhm.
Um, they started the cumulative impact study in West Dallas, right, which was pretty important because it's not about this pollution just in the air, but there's pollution for water. There's pollution in the dirt, right? And so,
Brownfields.
right.
Mm.
And so when you look holistically at all the contamination, you get a reading of, wow, this community is way overburdened, way too much contamination for the type of uses that are in the area. And so the EPA started that. Now, unfortunately, the new administration came and that study just pretty much got killed and went away.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just another tool that's gone for us to fight, for us to fight these pollutants, these polluters that really don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about the individual lives in West Dallas. So I really want you to kind of dive a little bit deeper into that. We're talking about the comorbidities of our youth and of our elderly and their susceptibility to getting asthma or lung cancer, things like that, and then it being exacerbated by these pollutants. Give me a little inside of some of the folks that you've personally talked to that are struggling through whether it be health complications, financial complications because of their proximity to this polluter.
There is so much cost, so many facets of cost. I'm going to share one neighbor who
You don't have to give her name.
moved,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
moved not too long ago into the community
New
and
resident.
immediately, yes,
Okay.
immediately started feeling health impacts. Her and her children. And guess what decision she had to do? She sent her kids away to live with their father
Mhm.
so that they would not be exposed. Can
Mhm.
you imagine a mom having to send the kids away for their health?
Yes, insane.
That's a huge
And it's
sacrifice.
going back to what you said about, yeah, people are telling, hey, you can just move. That doesn't solve the problem.
It
People
does
are
not.
moving into the neighborhood.
Correct.
And that is again, I go back to that hypocrisy, especially when it comes to black and brown communities. They always say that, well, if it's so bad, leave, and then they'll say, well, the tax base there doesn't produce enough money for the city to produce resource or provide resources for the area because they don't make enough money. Well, if that's the case, we're not creating an environment for folks to want to even live here.
Correct. 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 And for this particular neighbor, the solution was, wow, I have to live here, but my children, I can send them, I can work something out to send them away. But that's just one of the costs, right? But then there's people who, like other people who moved in,
Yeah.
right? And within a couple of months, they're wondering why they've never had any respiratory issues in their life, never been diagnosed with asthma. These are adults as well as children. And suddenly they move to West Dallas and they're being prescribed inhalers. Now they're having lung issues and having to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're having the cost of going to the doctor,
See.
getting the medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to find childcare when they go to some of these appointments.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's another cost,
They can go to one of the daycares that are sitting right next to the polluter.
right?
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
So there's people that are just suffering
Yes.
in all kinds of ways because of our environment.
Yeah, and let me tack on a little bit on that too, because I really want to dispel a lot of these myths, man. That it's just the residents. Well, it's also the businesses. Like you just said, those daycares, they are being affected by this polluter. So now, not only are you this is GAF not allowing this residential area to grow and to prosper, but also due to it's a financial burden. You're not allowing businesses to grow, and so we're looking at this situation where we're fighting for this neighborhood to grow and be prosperous, and it's something that the city of Dallas claims they want to produce within their citizenry, but then they'll either fight for or look away from areas that are being polluted by these large industrial sites like GAF or Tamco over there in Joppy. So I'm gonna go back to you though. You know, you're a working mother, daughter, neighbor, a revolutionary in my opinion. How do you protect your own mental health? Your mental health, your physical health from the burden or the burnout of fighting this industrial site, while managing the daily stress of being, to be honest with you, in this sacrificial zone.
Yeah, honestly, I pull from the strengths of my neighbors.
Love that.
That's and that's my mother included. She is one of my neighbors.
Okay, bet.
But I
It's a
pull from the
family affair.
strength. Yeah, the strength of my neighbors because we're all together on this.
Hmm.
We all want what's best for our health, for our family's health, for our community's health. And knowing that we're all in the same corner together, that's huge for me.
Yeah.
That's really huge, right? That the fact that they ask questions, the fact that they're wondering how do we help? What is next? Right? That's what keeps me going because I mean, yeah, do I want to throw in the towel sometimes? Absolutely.
Hey, I don't blame you.
But my neighbor down the street won't let me, right? My
Right.
neighbor, further down Singleton is like, "Hey, what's going on? What are we doing?" But honestly, it is that because it is a lot of bureaucracy, it's a lot of red tape, it's a lot of BS, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the pace at which we've been moving with the different levels of government, it's ridiculous, right? And people are overburdened with and stressed in all kinds of ways living in West Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And to deal with all of that bureaucracy and the BS and the delays and the games that government plays, nobody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants that. But the fact that everybody knows that that's what's happening and they're lending their voice, lending their body, showing up, representing, that means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And again, man, I can't express how much like thankfulness for you and the folks at Singleton United, and all the neighbors that are continuing fighting. We need that. That is, that's encouraging. That encourages myself and encourages others that are fighting kind of the same fight across Dallas. So real quick, guys, we'll be back. We're gonna talk a little bit about the process of amortization and some of the tools that we can fight. And maybe a lawsuit that we're looking at. But we'll be right back, guys. We were just talking about kind of the personal effects of the emissions that's coming from GAF. It's a polluter in West Dallas. There's ways to fight this. And to really dive into ways of fighting this, the process, I think I need people to understand what it means when we say amortization. So if you can explain the amortization process, what that looks like, and where we're at today, I think that would be helpful when it comes to understanding this topic.
Sure. Amortization is a tool that the city of Dallas has had for decades, and it's pretty simple. It's uh, a pathway to close a non-conforming use that is causing harm in a community. And so there is a whole city process to determine whether or not said use is causing harm or not. And if it is, there would be a procedure for closure. So at the very high level, that's what it is. It's a
Mhm.
tool to be able to protect communities, right?
Okay, okay.
And interestingly, the city of Dallas never used it to shut down GAF. So we've had it. We've had tools. Um,
There was no political will, essentially.
essentially,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
So the process pre a bill that state law that just got passed in
Was
2023,
it Senate
SB
Bill?
929,
Mhm.
before that got passed, the process involved shutting down a business. The timeline for shutting down a business was based on whether or not they recouped their investments from the start of the
Mm.
business, right? And in GAF's um, particular situation, they would have recouped many, many, many times over.
Of course, yeah.
So closure would have been, right?
Real simple.
Real simple.
Mhm.
But again, nobody had the political backbone and will to listen to the residents who asked over and over and over, start this process to shut down this company.
Mhm.
Fast forward, SB 929 was passed. And if you actually read the Senate bill analysis, the summary at the beginning of that bill, I mean, we're called out. We're called out, right? Because,
Yeah.
okay, there's someone's trying to shut down this employer that employs 150 employees and they've been in the community for 80 plus years. And that's so unfair because they've called that community their home,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
The bill does not differentiate between a mom and pop business and a
Yes.
multi-billion dollar polluter
Yes.
is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There is no differentiation. There is nothing that says, oh, but wait a minute. If this company is causing harm in such ways, there needs to be a different way to look at it. Nope, they
Mhm.
clump everybody together.
It sounds very intentional.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, GAF was right our whole fight was in that little summary blurb at the top
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
bill.
That's
So the
ridiculous.
interest was is in GAF for
Mhm.
GAF,
Mhm.
right? The bill got passed with GAF's interest in mind, right? And so what are we doing? We're protecting our interests, and that's what we keep fighting, right? For our interests. And so when this bill got passed, it changed the financial calculations for how, um, how to shut down a company. And
Mhm.
this now, unfortunately, as opposed to looking at Have they recouped their investments? Now it's okay, you're going to shut them down, but you're going to pay them fair market value to shut them down.
Yeah, and doesn't it allow for the timetable to be decided by the property owners,
Yeah. So before it was, well, y-
by the city, when it?
right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. They would decide.
But now the company can choose time or the payout.
Yeah, because they were supposed to leave by 2029, were they not?
Well, that was just hearsay. That was nothing ever legally binding or anything written down that that was the legal plan of action. It
Hmm.
was just listening to false promise from GAF that they would leave in 2029,
That's
you
ridiculous.
know.
So let's go back to 2024 though. Janie Cisneros versus City of Dallas. It's kind of, I was kind of looking at the lawsuit, but essentially, and then please give me details. Obviously, is that SB 929 that passed, but the process of getting that amortization process going and it being a tool for the neighborhood was already being pursued. But then once this was passed, all of a sudden the city was like, "Hey, my hands are tied. We can't do anything about it." Which obviously, in my opinion, is an excuse. But talk about this lawsuit. What's going on with that? What is your argument against the Senate bill being, being the thing that's tying the city of Dallas's hands together so they can't do anything about GAF or even Tamco over there in Joppy?
Right. So that Senate Bill 929 does not dictate the process for a city. The city, again, always has the tool, the expertise to change their process and when they change their process. So that's just on the city, on when they chose to prioritize
Yeah.
making the amendments to comply with SB 929. Complying with the law, I get, but there are things that the city had full control over to do to comply with that law.
Mm-hmm.
My lawsuit is pretty simple. I mean, the city code says that you need to take the application for amortization. You can take it from a resident,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yeah.
You accept it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to accept my application. And so the lawsuit is basically, no, you had an administrative duty to take my application and you refused
Yeah.
over and over again. And you violated your own code by not accepting my application.
I was about to say, is that legally binding? Is it, because it sounds like anybody, like a staffer, could just be like, nope, and then put your application aside. So
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me because they could have just taken it and let it sit on a desk,
yeah.
but they didn't. They refused. It was like a dirty diaper. Don't touch it.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Don't
it's a
touch it.
bomb, bro. They can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
get it
Well, they
out.
scared.
Get that paperwork out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, the argument that I've heard from the city, of course, it's that taxpayer funds are at a significant risk because of this. That it would cost too much money. I don't know. I think it was claimed somewhere around 36 to 45 million dollars to be able to get this done. Um, to me personally, I think it's worth it. People's lives, the neighborhood, and the ability for this neighborhood to grow. You're going to actually, in the long term, produce far more money and far more prosperity for the city of Dallas, specifically in West Dallas, with GAF gone. But what is your argument behind, or what's your argument against those who say this is going to cost the city a lot of money? City of Dallas is already in a $34 million budget shortfall, and then wanting to go and pursue this is another, almost looks like a fee that the city of Dallas has to pursue.
Once again, we had amortization at our hands for decades and it wasn't used and it would have cost zero to shut down GAF. They made a choice to not amortize. They
Yeah,
made that choice.
yeah,
And here we are today. And when we talk about costs, I mean, wouldn't it be funny if we did a little exercise of getting the costs of the medical bills, the medicine bills, the funeral costs, the
yeah,
costs of
yep,
any support
yep,
given to any family who's dealing with any kind of health issue due to the adverse impact of where we live. And you would add all of that up from the beginning of GAF being there and do a comparison of financial costs,
mhm,
what that would look like.
mhm.
To me, the community has already paid a heavy price.
Yes,
Lives have been lost. People
yes,
have been gone too soon. that is a heavy cost. Not shutting it down continues to put a cost on every resident in West Dallas and beyond because that pollution travels.
Hmm.
So there is a public cost, a human cost that also needs to be considered. And the whole, how many of a million? Well, that's what you chose, City of Dallas,
Hmm.
because you decided to not listen to the residents who asked for a remedy for the public's health.
Did you get any support from the city council person? I think at the time was Omar Narvaez, or I think who was I think Mark Vesey in that area as well. I'm not sure.
Congressman?
Congressman Mark
Yeah.
Vesey. Yeah, yeah. Did you get any support from their offices at all?
They would join, they would join, or a representative would join. We would have calls, say, for example, with the EPA, for
Hmm.
example.
Hmm.
But in terms of the city process being initiated by amortization, Omar Narvaez did not listen to us. We asked over and over. Matter of fact, when we formed Singleton United Unidos, it took almost over 9, 10 months for him to agree to sit down and actually meet with the new neighborhood association and his constituents.
That's
So did
insane.
we get support? No, we didn't get the leadership that we needed.
Hmm.
He claimed the rhetoric of, oh, I'm a champion. I'm a champion for West Dallas. We didn't see that. That was all rhetoric.
Hmm.
He promised several times amortization. He didn't do it. He made his moves, and his moves have led to where we are today.
Mm. During the amortization process, what is the responsibility of GAF when it comes to do they have to do they sign an appeal? Can they appeal it? Is it what? How have they been fighting back against the amortization process outside of, I'm assuming, lobbying our politicians in Austin and in the city of Dallas? But what have you seen kind of on the ground where GAF has been uh playing little tricks and schemes to make sure that this doesn't come up?
Well, in terms of what they wanted to do, I mean, you have the ghost GAF zoning case that they dangled in front of the councilman so that he wouldn't amortize
Explain that.
the.
What is that?
So they put in a zoning change request,
Okay.
um, and that zoning change request had a special use permit, that had the uh, rundown of what would be part of their exit. And that is where, if the zoning case would have gone through CPC into council, then it would have been a legally binding document to say, oh, okay, you know, this is when they legally said that they're going to leave. This is how they're going to clean up. This is what they're going to do to the facility. Um, and so we had rounds of negotiation for what it would look like,
Right.
right? But that zoning change request, right? Our councilman said, "Oh, well, they put in a zoning change request. I can't do anything now. I can't amortize.
Of course.
Oh, let's work out a deal with them,
Hmm.
right?" Um, and so that zoning case just sat there. And mind you, back then I was super naive. I thought, okay, well, the zoning change request, we'll see it play out. And then at one point, the former councilman Omar Narvaez says, "Oh, well, those can take up to 7 years. At 7, 10 years." And I'm sitting there like, whoa, that's knowledge that you had, and you were okay with
Yes, that's
this
insane.
sitting on a desk for seven
Hmm.
to 10 years when we're telling you that we're sick of breathing this shit every day,
Yes.
and so the thing is that, like, GAF has, they did a good job of picking their team, right? They had helping them with the zoning change request was former city councilman Lee Kleiman. He knew all about the zoning. He knew all the loopholes and tricks and, like, what can be done, and he knew that zoning case could just sit there.
Hmm.
So, and I didn't know that all an applicant for a zoning change request has to do is send the city an email with a little bit of change every 6 months to keep a case active. And so that is how GAF played it.
It's insane to me that we'll have our city council people and our politicians say that like you said, we're champions of social change and things like that, and for the health of the people, and then we'll bar information that would be critical for the fight and allowing y'all to sink.
Oh, absolutely. It's
That's insane.
disgusting.
It is disgusting.
It's
And
disgusting.
honest with you, man, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
disgusting. Yeah, we've done open records requests,
Yeah.
uh, and one of the documents that we received at one point was two city staffers joking that GAF zoning case was just going to be a paperweight on a desk and never go anywhere. So
That's shameful.
so it's just like, oh, okay. Everybody was just laughing,
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, the councilman was using that as a no. This is the way it's going to happen, and this is the path forward.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing not to listen to constituents whose ultimate goal was to be able to breathe clean air in West Dallas, not anything else a company is going to dangle in front of us.
Yeah. Simple. It's just it makes me it just makes me mad, man, because it's a simple thing. We just want to breathe clean air.
That's it.
Period.
That's it.
We want what every other neighborhood would want for their kids and for their elderly and for themselves. And yet we have to fight tooth and nail, even today, to make sure that we can breathe clean air and not have metals and shit in it.
And it's not like they don't know what's happening, because I mean, you were there when we had the meeting with TCEQ.
Yes, yes.
You know, there are people who spoke at that meeting, but there are people who couldn't make it that evening, and they wrote comments online to TCEQ opposing a renewal of GAF's permit. And I sent those comments to all of our elected officials, right, with a little synopsis of like, it's not just me.
Right, yeah. This is not just Janie being, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
This is the entire
I'm
neighborhood.
not making it up.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'd read the comments about moms with infants trying to stroll them down the street, and they get hit by the waft of fumes that makes them sick. It makes the adult sick. What do you think it does to developing lungs of an infant? Right?
You're killing people.
People were just leaving comments about what's happening to them physically, about how nobody told them when they bought the new homes. Some people left comments that have been there for decades, and some people left them that this is news to them because they moved in, they bought a house, and they're upset that nobody told them that there was so much contamination in West Dallas. And the comments said it all.
Yeah.
So it's not like our leadership doesn't know. I mean, I've given research, data, 311 summaries, testimonials. People have gone to the mic at City Hall to speak. There's no hiding it. There is no denying it.
You did your due diligence.
You have everything there to know this is harming people who have lived there for decades and new people who were trying to call West Dallas home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's insane, man. We're gonna be right back, y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're gonna talk a little bit about, what would it look like if GAF was gone, and how we can move forward with this. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, y'all. This is Real with O'Neill. I'm your host, O'Neill. We're sitting with Janie Cisneros of Singleton United, Unidos. Let's just go right into it, man. This is the question I've been really asking you because I want to see what the future is, because I believe we'll win. I know we can win. I know we can beat these people. So tell me, if you could have a direct, unmediated, 1-hour conversation with GAF's CEO, what would you want to show and tell them?
Nothing they haven't already seen.
Facts.
Nothing that
he knows. He or she knows.
I mean, it pretty much would be it wouldn't be 1 hour. I mean, just look each other in the eye, because it's just like, you wouldn't want your family living next door to the factory you have in West Dallas.
Yeah.
That is an antiquated facility pumping out all kinds of pollution and affecting so many thousands of people in West Dallas, so many residents, so many businesses. Right. But there's nothing that they don't already know.
Yeah.
They troll our social media.
Of course they do.
Do you know what I mean? Like they have all of the facts.
Yes.
They have all of the research. Matter of fact, anytime we publish anything, media or us, they go trying to put a lawsuit against every entity.
Defamation
They're
and whatever.
everything,
Yeah.
right? And so there's nothing much left to say. They have the information, they have the data. At the end of the day, we know that they're viewing it from a completely different angle. They're viewing it from a strictly business profit perspective, not a human cost perspective.
That's wild, man. Yeah. You wouldn't need an hour. Nah, they already know what's going on, and that's kind of the same across the board when it comes to Tamco or any type of industrial center around. These people understand what they're doing.
Yeah,
they know. They just don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, next question, I'll be honest with you, is let's imagine GAF is gone. GAF is gone. You won. We're celebrating. Going crazy. What would you want? How would you want to activate that space? What would you, in your opinion, do with it?
It's the antithesis, the complete opposite of what is there now.
Yeah.
When the first year when we started our campaign, there were kids from the Career Institute South who was led by a campaign member, Laura Quintero Chavez, who was their teacher, and they did projects of and they were architect students. They were design architect students,
Okay. Cool.
and they interviewed us about what we wanted to see and our needs and what could be out there. And they went out and did these amazing projects, renderings of what could be there. My mind was blown.
I
Like
would love to see those.
my mind was my mind was expanded
Yeah.
because seeing the facility there all my life, the sounds that come out of it, the smells that come out of it, the sites that you see with all of their trailers and all of their shingles and all of all of the operations, all of that is what we're used to. It's in the background,
Yeah.
right? It's always been there. And all we know is that we just want clean air to breathe.
Yeah.
We don't want the poison. These kids were able to see so much more. And I think that what they put in their projects was probably what maybe they want to see too in their neighborhoods.
Of course.
But it was just beautiful, like renderings of, for example, people coming together with an amphitheater and like a little park area
Dang,
amphitheater
that'd
with
be
like
sick.
performances
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
neighborhood could perform, so the Pinkston band could perform.
Yeah.
I mean, like how lovely. There were some that were thinking about cleaning up the soil and making it, planting gardens and having like a little bazaar restaurant where people from the community are hands on and they're the workers, and it's like from farm to food.
Yes.
It
Yes.
was just gorgeous, like water structures
Mhm.
to bring life. The kids thought about mental well-being and mental health and a space for that.
Yeah.
Green space. I mean, and homes,
Mhm.
right? I'd love to be able to walk through where GAF is right now to visit my neighbors on the other side.
Exactly. It's a barrier.
Connection. It is a barrier. And so those renderings from those students from the Career Institute South just really just blew my mind. It amazed me at the possibilities that could be there, but all those possibilities are the complete opposite of what we have today, from sight to smell to touch,
Mhm.
just everything different.
Mhm. That's amazing. Yeah, I would love to see those renderings because that's the type of stuff that it excites me as an environmentalist because I know the potential of what we can do if a lot of these industrial sites were just gone. So tell me, what is next for GAF Gotta Go? What's on the docket? What where can we help as an audience so that we can continue this fight?
Yeah. So right now we are actually, I mean, there's still things that are in motion.
Yeah.
There is the amortization,
Yeah.
right? Right now we're in the investigative process of, well, how much is it in reality? What is it going to really cost the city? And the city will need to decide whether or not,
Okay, so that analysis is being conducted right now. So they're
yes.
seeing how much is actually going to cost. Is it promising? Are they just doing this just to kind of appease or?
Well, I mean, whether it's that one or the other, they have to
Right.
do the process.
Yeah, yeah,
They
they're
they
legally
they
bounded.
have to do
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
right? They have to do it. Um, and so that is happening, and we'll see what those results entail, right? There's also the pending lawsuit that the ruling hasn't come our way, and now it's about to be 2 years since my first hearing, and Judge Gina Slaughter still has not yet given a ruling for it. So we're still waiting on that piece. There's also our zoning change, which I am just so thrilled about. We asked for an authorized hearing in 2022. It got approved December 15, 2022.
Mm.
And I didn't realize it at that point, but I guess that was a win. That was a huge milestone and a huge win. But maybe it was to placate us no the city knowing that it was gonna sit in a queue for years
Yeah.
before it got to it. So finally they've gotten to it at the end of last year, and we're about to wrap it up, and I'm really pushing for it to go to CPC as soon as possible. But that is very important to us because that is the way to protect our neighborhood from any more industrial polluters moving in by right.
Okay.
And so I am just so happy with the number of neighbors who have been vocal and supportive and attending the meetings and giving their 2 cents for the vision of what they want to see, the type of homes they want to see. Um, it's going to be incredible because we're setting ourselves up for our future, right? For future generations. And so for me, this is so important because it is transformative. It's going to historically change
Mhm.
what has been there for years and right the wrongs when the city unfortunately labeled us as an industrial zone, knowing
Yeah,
that there
people
were
live.
people lived there.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that comes to fruition. And I am just so excited for the outcome of that because, like I said, that's going to be historic and so grateful to all the neighbors who have come out and put their 2 cents for that and taken part and care for the vision of the community. So that is very, very exciting.
Man, that is exciting. You got me hype already over here. You know what I mean? So now I appreciate you, Jenny, so much for sitting down and providing your perspective and your insight on this issue. This is an issue that is not uncommon. This happens in a lot of black and brown neighborhoods, not just in Texas, not just in Dallas, but across the United States. So thank you so much. Please tell the audience how, they can get involved, where they can follow y'all.
Yeah, yeah, we're on social media. You can find us on social media, Singleton United, Unidos. When there's opportunities to speak at City Hall or send comments, following us on social media is the quickest way to see
Yeah.
when an action is needed, how people can support, whether it's in attendance, whether it's in comments, or attending our events.
Hmm.
So there's still, there's more things to come, and so that's a quick way to get involved. But a lot of it is contacting your representative, contacting
Always.
your elected officials, contacting your city council person,
Yeah. Pick up the phone.
pushing, pick up the phone,
Pick up the damn phone,
email.
bro.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is the way to let them know that you are aware of what is happening and that you find it unacceptable that it's still happening and that you're demanding that your elected official step in, be vocal, and do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, we all want a better Dallas.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Janie, for sitting down with me. This is Real with O'Neill. I am your host, O'Neill. Stay tuned, y'all. You can follow us on social media, all social media, so YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of the above. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Janie.